January 26, 1945. The forests of eastern France. 6 heavily armored German tanks are advancing through the snow. Behind them, 250 soldiers, disciplined, armed, and closing in fast. Standing between them and an entire American company? One man. 19 years old. Already wounded. Alone on top of a burning tank destroyer that could explode at any second. He stood at a .50 caliber machine gun for more than an hour, defending his entire unit. His name was Audie Murphy. And what he did that day didn't just save his company, it became one of the most extraordinary acts of individual courage in the history of modern warfare. This is his story. To understand who Audie Murphy became, you have to understand where he came from. Murphy was born into a large family of sharecroppers in Hunt County, Texas. His father abandoned the family, and his mother died when Murphy was still a teenager. He left school in 5th grade to pick cotton and find other work to help support his siblings. His skill with a hunting rifle helped put food on the table. This wasn't a boy who grew up with privilege or comfort. He grew up with responsibility. With hunger. With loss. But he also grew up with something else, a quiet, unshakable toughness that no classroom could ever teach. After the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, Murphy's older sister helped him falsify documentation about his birth date to meet the minimum age for enlisting. He was turned down initially for being underweight by the Army, the Navy, and the Marine Corps. 3 rejections. Most people would have walked away and considered it a sign. Audie Murphy tried again. And this time, the Army let him in. The skinny kid from Texas was going to war. Murphy first saw action during the Allied invasion of Sicily in 1943. He then participated in the Battle of Anzio, the liberation of Rome, and the invasion of southern France. From the very beginning, commanders noticed something different about this young soldier. He didn't simply follow orders, he led from the front, often going ahead of his unit to locate threats before they could reach his men. He handled small arms with assurance, and unlike many soldiers, did not hesitate to engage the enemy. Historian S.L.A. Marshall noted after the war that a large percentage of American soldiers had rarely fired their weapons in action. Murphy always fired, and usually hit his target. He earned his first Bronze Star in Italy for leading a night patrol to neutralize a damaged German tank. Then a Silver Star. Then another. But the war had a cost Murphy never spoke about publicly. The loss of comrades affected him deeply, and he resisted forging close relationships with replacements. He was perceived as a soldier fighting a war of his own. "I have isolated myself as much as possible," he once lamented. "I feel burnt out, emotionally and physically exhausted." He kept fighting anyway. By January 1945, Audie Murphy had already earned more decorations than most soldiers see in a lifetime. But the war was not finished with him. On January 26, 1945, 2nd Lieutenant Audie Murphy was commanding Company B of the 15th Infantry Regiment near the French village of Holtzwihr when 6 German tanks and several hundred infantrymen launched a coordinated assault on his company. The odds were catastrophic. How were 18 riflemen expected to stop a German armored task force? Murphy made a decision. He ordered his men to pull back into the tree line. He would stay behind, alone, to call in artillery coordinates and buy them time. His platoon sergeant was reluctant to leave him. Murphy looked at him and said, "Get the hell out of here." Then something happened that no one who witnessed it ever forgot. German fire struck a nearby American tank destroyer, setting it on fire. Witnesses recalled how Murphy climbed onto the burning vehicle, which was in danger of exploding at any moment, and positioned himself behind its .50 caliber machine gun. From that burning platform, exposed, with no cover and nowhere to go, he began defending the entire position alone. Wounded and bleeding, he stood at that machine gun for more than an hour. He called in artillery strikes on the advancing Germans while simultaneously engaging them directly. The tanks kept coming. The infantry kept pressing forward. And Murphy kept holding his ground. From his exposed position on top of the burning tank destroyer, he repelled the entire assault. When the smoke finally cleared, when the German advance had been broken, Murphy climbed down from the burning wreckage. He was wounded in the leg. He was surrounded by the evidence of an impossible stand. Then he turned around, walked back to his men, and led them in a counterattack. On April 23, 1945, at just 19 years old, Audie Murphy received the Medal of Honor for his actions that January day. By the end of the war, Murphy had received around 30 decorations, including the Medal of Honor, 2 Silver Stars, 2 Bronze Stars, 3 Purple Hearts, the Distinguished Service Cross, and the French Croix de Guerre. He had risen from private to first lieutenant, and become the most decorated, and arguably most famous, American soldier of World War II. The country celebrated him. His face appeared on the cover of Life magazine. Hollywood came calling. Actor and producer James Cagney saw Murphy on that magazine cover and invited him to Hollywood, signing him to a performance contract and launching a career that would see Murphy appear in more than 40 feature films. But behind the fame, the medals, and the movie roles, something was wrong. After his military service, Murphy was plagued with insomnia and bouts of depression. He slept with a loaded pistol under his pillow. His medical records indicated he took sleeping pills to prevent nightmares. Audie Murphy was one of the first high-profile veterans to openly speak about what we now call PTSD, combat fatigue, as it was known then. He advocated for veterans' mental health at a time when that conversation was considered a sign of weakness. He was brave enough to admit what war truly costs, even after the cameras stopped rolling. On June 7, 1971, Audie Murphy was buried with full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery. In attendance were Ambassador George H. W. Bush and Army Chief of Staff William Westmoreland. Murphy had previously requested that his headstone remain plain and inconspicuous, like that of an ordinary soldier. Today, his gravesite is the second most visited in all of Arlington National Cemetery, after President John F. Kennedy. Think about that. A sharecropper's son who couldn't finish school. Who was turned away 3 times before the army let him in. Who stood alone on a burning vehicle against an armored assault, and won. He didn't ask for fame. He didn't ask for monuments. He just asked to serve. And in doing so, he became something none of us can fully measure, a symbol of what one person, with nothing but courage and commitment, can accomplish when everything is on the line. Audie Murphy's story is not just a war story. It's a story about who we become when we're tested beyond anything we thought we could survive. It's about a boy the world underestimated, and a man the world could never forget. If this story moved you, share it. Because some stories deserve to be heard by every generation. I'll see you in the next one.